It's time for Windows Weekly. Paul Thurrott is here, and so is the new Windows Phone. We'll give you his complete review, so some great tips, and a program that everyone should have on their Windows Phone. It's all coming up next with Windows Weekly.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for Windows Weekly is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott, episode 182, recorded November 11th, 2010. So I got that going for me. Windows Weekly is brought to you by Go to Assist Express. If you're in tech support, solve problems fast with the leader in remote support software. Go to Assist Express. For a free 30-day trial, visit gotoassist.com/Windows. And by Ford and the new 2011 Ford Fiesta. With an EPA estimated 40 highway miles per gallon, no other compact car is more fuel efficient. Drive on this week at a dealer near you and see how Ford stacks up to the Lamborghini when it comes to agility. Watch the Fiesta versus Lamborghini video on YouTube. And by Carbonite. Backing up the files on your PC or Mac is safe and easy with Carbonite. For a free trial plus 2 free months with purchase, go to Carbonite.com. Offer code WINDOWS. It's time for Windows Weekly, the show that covers your Windows, your Xbox, and most importantly, your Zune. Here he is, the man who still has his brown Zune and uses it every single day, Mr. Paul Thurrott, editor-in-chief of the SuperSite for Windows, SuperSite.com. And the author of Windows Phone Secrets, now out in stores. I know because I saw it.
I did too.
So exciting.
Actually, look.
Look.
If I can do this.
Look.
I have a
He's
pile
got a
of them
stack of books. And they're in Zune Brown, which I thought was very tasteful. We have a lot to talk about today, my friend.
Yes, we do.
Oh, my friend. Oh, Paul Thurrott. Oh, leader of the great Windows nation. Oh, Microsoft hero. Windows.
It's like it's 1999 all over again.
Windows Phone. I got it. You know, I went
what do you think?
I went to AT&T on Monday because I buy these. I won't take loaners. Not that anybody offered me one.
No.
But
I guess my little chat with Microsoft had its effect.
Whatever you do, don't give Laporte one of those.
Yeah.
I feel like such a dork. I now literally carry 3 phones with me: an iPhone, an Android phone, and the Windows Phone 7. And at the I would say in some ways that summarizes my thoughts about this. It's absolutely almost on parity. It's very usable. Yep. So I went in to AT&T. I got there very early because that was the same AT&T I bought my iPhone at, my original iPhone, and there was a long line. There was no line. I got there half an hour early, and there was nobody there. I walked in. They unlocked the doors at 9 a.m. I went inside, and they said, "Hey, what can we do for you?" I said, "I'll take one of them."
You on an Android phone?
Yeah, I'll take one of them. Well, they had 2. It turns out of these. They did have the HTC. Is it HTC that makes the surround sound one with the big speaker in the back? They had one of those on display, and they didn't have them in stock, but they were selling those already. And they said, "Yeah, and we'll get the LG soon." Okay. But they did have two. Count them, 2 focuses. And another guy came in.
Foci,
and another guy came in after me, and bought the other one. He was a Microsoft Certified Solutions partner. Okay. And that was pretty much my morning. Now I got it. It's on the. We have a business plan with AT&T because I have a number of iPhones and other phones from AT&T. I had taken your advice. I had set up my Windows Live account. So I merely logged into the Windows Live account and all of. By the way, the hardware very nice. Feels a little plasticky, but not badly so. I like the.
I look at it like. That was done to keep the weight down.
Yeah, it's very light. Boy, is it light.
I think that to me, that's fine.
It'll be robust. It'll be fine. It's got mini USB charging. That's nice and syncing. And it's in an odd place. It's at the top.
I know. That's true of a couple of the phones, and I wish it was on the bottom. For some kind of a connector type.
Right. Well, yeah, you can't dock this.
Yeah.
It's you know, both. It just seems now the camera is spectacular. I have to say the thing that really stands out. A couple of things. One, they showed this, but you press and hold the camera button, even if it's locked, it goes right to camera mode, and you're taking a picture right away. Now, imagine my surprise when the pictures that I take are immediately uploaded not only to my SkyDrive but my Facebook page. I didn't expect that. That's apparently the default. Or maybe it was just how I had my live set up.
You have to set it.
Somehow I'd set that up, so now all the pictures I take go immediately. But that's kind of cool. I don't have to share them at all explicitly. Of course, you can share them. You know, you have the ability to make it explicit. But great camera. I was very impressed with it. All
right, so we're done. All right.
Very responsive hardware. I mean, it just really snappy. I downloaded and started playing The Harvest because you recommended it.
Yep.
You have to get Xbox Live Extras to get your little Weeble on there.
Well, to edit him, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you can edit him now, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. That's cool. Yep. Oh, look at that. I can make my Weeble look even less like me.
Yeah, this whole experience I'm not too impressed with. It appears to be implemented as a website.
Right. That's what it looks like. It's launching the web.
Yeah. And, sort of a Chromeless web browser kind of thing.
It's kind of nice that these achievements are cross-platform on Xbox Live, and you can round-trip the games, right?
What do you mean by that?
Well, I can play it on Xbox Live, and it goes back and forth. The game is the thing.
I don't know if they have a game like that yet, but that is technically
in theory
possible.
that's the goal.
You know, like Elo Milo, for example, will be coming out in an Xbox Live.
Right, and then your score and position will be saved, I presume.
I don't know. It's possible. It is possible to do that. Yeah.
You know, the hardware is very capable. I think Microsoft was very smart in having a very concrete hardware standard. You know, the same resolution, the same hardware, the same chips. You know, the memory varies. Oh, one thing they told me immediately, it's interesting because I already knew this because of you.
Yep.
They said, we've received this advisory from corporate. Do not sell the customer an SD card. Do not imply that they could use their own SD card. Tell them no. And then when I open it up, there's even a thing that says, don't do the SD card.
You know, so there's still confusion around this, but what it came down to was anonymous guy from AT&T in a forum said it was okay, and guy I've known for a decade and trust a lot told me it was not okay. And which of those guys are you going to trust?
Well, AT&T's official stance, because I was told when I bought it, and they showed me the memo. And then if you look on mine, see, you have a prototype probably.
No, I have the thing.
It says stop.
Yep.
Ooh.
So
then shine a light in your eye.
I have, in fact, and thank you for blinding me, by the way.
Yeah.
I have, in fact, upgraded the memory in mine to see how it works. Yeah, and this is, I think the experience is going to be exactly what Microsoft said, which is, if you're lucky, it will work fine, and if you're not, you can have problems. And
what brand did you use?
I used a Patriot.
Okay. You used,
well, no, but hold on.
That's something they sell only in Boston, I think.
No, I got it on Amazon. The reason I got this one, it's just a standard class 4 16 gig, micro SD HC card. The reason I got this one actually was because they were advertising it as being compatible with this.
Oh, interesting.
Phone. Not that that means anything, because actually the thing that they sold me is a very generic card. But truth is, I've had no problems. So
you can use it as memory.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the deal? I mean, I was unclear. Is it a? They said AT&T said unequivocally, wait until there's an update before you put an SD card. And you know what? This only has 8 gigs of memory. I would like an SD card in this.
This touches on several outstanding issues I have right now around Windows Phone and the way Microsoft's handling things. I've asked Microsoft repeatedly to please comment on a couple of things. One of them is AT&T is telling people that Microsoft is issuing a fix.
Yes, they told me it's a driver issue.
Yeah. So I've written them and I've said, okay, I'd like to know if this is in fact the case. Are you Microsoft working on a fix? And days go by and I don't hear anything, and I write back and I say, hey, by the way, you never answered my question. Are you Microsoft working on it? Okay. Yeah. Oh, we're going to get back to you as soon as we can.
We don't know is what they're saying.
You can't even say to me, I mean, off the top of your head, well, yeah, we're doing something, but
they don't know.
It's unbelievable. This whole thing is actually, it's typical is what it is. It's frustrating because this is the kind of thing I go through all the time with.
Now, let me say that it doesn't really bother me, except that I love the Zoom Pass, I reactivated my Zune Pass because this is a Zune.
Yeah, you want to sync this. All right, so
and I want to put all my. I just want more room for music because this is a Zune.
Yeah. The problem, there are a couple problems here. So obviously, if you decide right now, look, I'm going to buy this memory card. I'm going to put it in there. We'll see what happens. The first thing you have to do is wipe out the phone. You have to reset it.
It starts all over. Oh, yikes.
Yeah, so that kind of stinks. But I did that, and so far so good. I've got it pretty well loaded up. I haven't noticed anything personally, but as I described in my blog, if this works for me, it doesn't prove a thing, right? It literally proves nothing.
It only proves that it works in some cases, is what it proves.
Which is what Microsoft is saying. So AT&T was saying...
Is it a question of the quality and speed of memory cards? That's what Engadget says.
It is. Well, the way that it was described to me was that even though there are different classes of cards and they have different speed profiles associated with them, those things mean absolutely nothing. And that what Microsoft found was within the same exact kind of cards, wild variances in the responsiveness and the quality of reliability. So,
and we know that because these are Chinese, they're made in,
Well, but it's still kind of crazy when you think about it. You don't, when you buy a 5,400 RPM hard drive or whatever, a 3.2 gigahertz Intel processor, you sort of expect that these things will operate within a range, an acceptable, it will be sort of like what they describe. And apparently that's not really the case with these little cards. And I guess part of it is because they're designed for use in certain kinds of devices, cameras typically.
Yeah.
And they have, because of the dumbness of the device that they're in, they actually have some kind of onboard processing that occurs around blocking out memory that's bad and so forth. And it's just not really designed for this, apparently, for this purpose. So we'll see.
I mean, a lot of Android, all my Android phones use SD memory.
Well, they use it differently. That's the problem. So,
we talked about this. They use it just like storage.
Yeah, it's a little different. But
okay.
Yeah. So
it's how tightly it's integrated into the OS that's the issue.
I think so.
Yeah.
Microsoft wants to have a good end user experience.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's a great end user experience. I mean, I have to say, there's just little things, little touches. You've mentioned it, but I love the fact that I can add kind of, I presume it's ad infinitum tiles of contacts. And they show up down here. It's great. Right. I mean, there's really only one front page. It's just really, really long, and and it's easy to organize these as you said it would be. It's you just drag them around. It's kind of weird that it leaves holes in there.
Well, you could.
I mean, you fill them. It's just kind of. I thought, well, that's giving me a lot of credit for like, okay, he must want a hole there.
Yeah, I think that look. Windows Phone is a 1.0 product. Right?
No, I understand it. For a 1.0, it's spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, there are a million little things. It's impossible to use it and not do something where you say, what would be nice here?
Right.
But
I expect that.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the way it is.
And there's some unexpected stuff. Like when I go to pictures, I don't just see my pictures.
Yeah.
There's some other people's pictures in there, which is kind of, once you get used to it, it's great. And I love how they took one of my pictures and made it the backdrop.
Yep.
I don't know how they choose that, but it's cool.
You can specify that if you don't want that one, by the way. Here's a secret. You hold on right there. There you go.
Change background. Look at that. And so I could use that picture that I just took of my desk.
You could.
You could, but you probably would want to use something lush and lovely. Actually, I liked, believe it or not, the one it chose was probably the one I would continue to use. This is a great phone. Now, here a couple of issues I've had, maybe that you can help me with. One is I did what you said, which is I set up Live, knowing that any accounts I attached and so forth, as soon as I logged into Live, would immediately be part of my phone, and that's cool. And I specifically, and I obviously did this wrong, I made my Live calendar subscribe to my Google Calendar because I was hoping that it would then propagate into the phone. But apparently the calendar does not come from the Live calendar.
No, it does. So there are two things there. You can easily set up a Google account type that will pull in your Google Calendar.
Not so well easily, but not intuitively because you have to go to Outlook to do it.
No.
Because it's using EAS.
You just go into settings, accounts, Google.
Yeah. No, I did that, but Google's only mail.
No. It's
really?
Calendar and contacts as well.
Oh, because I did that and I only got.
All right, so do this then. Launch Calendar.
Okay. See, now calendar, and here's the problem. Now, so I did do that, by the way, using Outlook, but it only subscribes to one calendar.
Well, yes, this is a limitation.
That's a known limitation. Okay.
Click on that little 3-dot thing there at the bottom.
Yeah.
And
Calendars.
click on calendars and see if Google's in there.
It's Outlook because it's EAS.
Because you went through Outlook.
Right.
You went through the Outlook.
But initially, I went through Google and it didn't do it. See, I do have my.
Oh, well, it does do it. It does.
Okay. I'm just stupid, I guess.
No, it's okay. The issue with the subscribe calendars is those aren't going to work, period, because it only does the primary calendar, regardless of the account.
So the fact that I subscribed on Live didn't help me.
Not with getting your Google calendar on.
So but now if I add my Google account here.
A little trick here, by the way, is
I need a trick.
You've already configured, and this isn't something you need necessarily should do, but you've already configured your Google account via the Outlook account type, right? You could configure it right now again using the Google account type.
Right.
And it would actually pop in, it would
double it.
Twice.
Double it, yeah.
But that's also a way you could, so for example, if
have a
you
second calendar.
Yes. And also just a second Google account in general. Let's say for whatever reason you have a Gmail account for personal use, a Gmail account.
I do have an apps account, so maybe I could use my apps account.
Right. Now, in that case, it would make sense to use a different account type to configure them both because the icon for the Mail app would be different, and that would help you visually tell the difference between the two.
Right.
Right, because you get a separate tile, right, for each account type.
So, but I can't have multiple calendars. I remember this was a problem with the iPhone, and they fixed it pretty quickly. It's a Google. So, is it a Google issue? I think it's a Google issue.
No, it's a Microsoft issue. If you go back 3 years to when the iPhone came out, at that time I had multiple calendars on Google Calendar.
Right.
Because being the retentive.
No, it's very handy.
Yeah, you do that. So you have like home, work.
Yeah.
Whatever the
travel, I have TWiT,
yes.
I have
all different color coded, right?
All color coded, very handy.
So the iPhone came out, and of course the iPhone didn't support multiple calendars.
It only supported one. I know. It's a pain, right?
So I made at that time the decision that I would just go with a single calendar because I didn't want to deal with that. And so for the next, I think, 2 years, that's the way it was. Now, eventually, of course, Apple added multiple calendar support to the iPhone.
Right.
But by that time, I'd been using the single calendar for so long, I just thought, screw it. This works fine. I'm not gonna worry about that. And of course now Windows Phone comes out, and of course it has the same limitation. So for the time being, in my case, it doesn't affect me. But I know from talking to a lot of people via email primarily that they're in you have multiple calendars. It's kind of a problem. So the two alternatives, none of which are pretty, would be to only use a single calendar, convert them all to the single calendar, or set up multiple calendars in Google or something. Different accounts.
Some way. I'm gonna wait.
But that's
okay. So that's a little disappointing because that really kind of makes the calendar app not so useful.
Yep.
It's good in every other way.
Yeah.
I mean, it gives me the alerts. It's very nicely done.
A nice presentation.
Beautiful presentation.
Yep.
And yes, we've gone to m.google.com/sync on Safari, changing the user agent to iPhone, and still only one calendar, and that's they're very clear about that.
It's a limitation of the app.
Yeah, it's the app itself.
Yeah.
That's something they could fix. And now that raises this issue of updates, because Microsoft has said we will update early in 2011 to add cut and paste. And there seems to be some controversy. Microsoft saying we can update it.
Yeah, I don't the internet is a funny place, right?
It sure is.
And I'll give you there's two examples, and one is related to this particular story. One guy from one place citing anonymous sources using unknown techniques announced to the world that Microsoft sold only, and I say only in air quotes because actually 40,000 phones.
Yeah.
One day is actually a pretty good number. Only sold 40,000 phones on the first day.
Yep.
Now, that's the source of that story. It's a guy from thestreet.com.
Right.
And we have
it's
no
been,
idea
by the way, variously interpreted as a huge success and a huge failure. Same number.
My point about this story, this is how I approach the world.
Yeah.
I don't look at it as a success or a failure. I look at it as, how the heck did this one story
how do we know?
Get propagated to every single tech blog and news site?
It becomes true.
As if it were a fact.
It becomes true.
Because it gets republished so frequently, it's a fact. And it's not a fact. No one has ever announcnced sales numbers for this thing. And this guy, we don't even know who he's quoting, let alone who this imaginary, if he's real person, how whatever the process was. So this week we get another story. Even though I accurately reported it on it at the time of the launch, someone writes a story on the web about how actually, wireless carriers can get in the way of Microsoft's updates, and this is not what Microsoft said we were going to do, and yada yada yada. And then you have people on the other side who are writing in and saying, no, Microsoft controls the updates. That's not true, and this is all baloney. And to me, this is it's irritating in a way because I've already written the story about what the truth is behind this, but apparently we need to reiterate it. And it's something in the middle, because the odd thing about this is both of these sides have a point. Yes, Microsoft does control the updates, but yes, wireless carriers can in fact block updates. So how does that work? How is this any different than it was in the Windows Mobile days? And the answer is it's dramatically different. Microsoft, by standardizing on the phone hardware, as you noted earlier, has created a system that's much easier to update because there aren't a million different kinds of phones out in the world, from a low-level hardware perspective. So what they've done is they've worked with their wireless carrier partners to bring their test suites in-house so that by the time Microsoft ships an update, they can hand it to the wireless carrier and say, hey, we already did your testing. Here are the results of the tests. In most cases, you're just going to be able to allow this thing to go out. Now, there may be rare instances in which a wireless carrier decides not to let an update go out for whatever reason, and they can actually block it, even though Microsoft is hosting the updates, and even though in many cases, because of the size of the update, Microsoft is in fact directly delivering the update to users through the Zoom PC software over USB and not using the wireless carrier's wireless network.
And the carrier can still block that.
Still block it. But here's the thing. Can't block it forever. They can only block it for one update cycle. So the updates that Microsoft releases are cumulative. So when update number 2 comes out, it's going to include update 1 plus update 2. And at that point, the wireless carrier doesn't have a choice. It has to allow that at least that first update, if not both updates, to be applied. Now, according to the wireless carriers themselves, and I've only spoken with AT&T, they have no interest in blocking updates. They had reasons for doing it in the past. They have seen how the world has worked under the iPhone.
Yeah, they don't control it in the iPhone.
No, but they see how it makes people happy.
Yes, and they see how unhappy Android people are that they can't get the latest version.
Yeah, my concern is I've dealt with AT&T for 3 years. I dealt with Verizon Wireless before that. I know that these companies suck, and they hate people, and they want you to upgrade to a new phone as quickly and as often as possible. That's how they work. And to claim otherwise is just a clueless misrepresentation of the truth. But it's just, and at the reviewers workshop that occurred right after the launch, I really ground this meeting to a halt over this issue because I could not believe, that Microsoft was now telling me something that was completely different from what they had said before, i.e. that they were controlling the updates 100%. And then they bring in this guy from AT&T for this little love fest, where, oh no, we're it's like wife abuse. I've changed, baby. I'm, this time I really,
I'm that kind of dude. I love you.
How many times you got to get slapped around by this company, or you just lose all sense of trust, So we'll see. We'll see what happens, right? We can talk about what's going to happen. My post in this discussion I just had with you is based on exact quotes from Microsoft Corporate Vice President Joe Belfiore, who spelled out exactly what was happening. There's no misrepresentation of it. This is exactly what's happening. And we'll see. So update 1 will come out, update 2, update 3, and we'll see. And I think the real proof is going to occur 2 years from now when the first Windows Phone adopters are now up on their contracts, right?
Right.
And now what's AT&T going to do? Is that when they start blocking updates to make you get the new version of the phone? I bet they do. But that is just my opinion.
Ralph de la Vega would not do that.
Well, we'll see. We're going to find out.
Higgins would never do that. So let me, in a thumbnail, say a couple of things. First of all, you're absolutely right. There's little things you go immediately, oh, I wish Evernote were out on this. I wish the calendar. There's little things. I don't miss cut and paste, to be honest with you. That's not that useful.
No, compared to the awesome stuff that's on there.
Yeah. I love how some of this is done. For instance, the people button, and that's not a Samsung, right? The people thing. I love this. Yeah. I think that's a really good way to do social.
Although I look at it and I think, I do love this, but why don't I have favorites? Why don't I have
it's just
a way to filter it by account?
Yeah, because I have LinkedIn on LinkedIn and on live.com, and I get all these LinkedIn updates. I didn't realize people were updating LinkedIn. People use it like in social. But on the other hand, these are all my friends on LinkedIn and on Facebook and on Twitter. So it's appropriate that I see their posts here. Yep. Well, except for him. Nice. But other than that, and it shows who I've called recently. I mean, this is kind of integrates that. Oh, now I'm calling somebody. That's the other thing is sometimes. Oh, and I do love it. I do love it that it has two of the features that make Android superior to the iPhone. Hardware back button.
Listen. As exciting as the Pictures Hub is and all that stuff, back button is
huge.
I mean, I'm sorry, back button was awesome in 1999. I'm not sure why it's amazing.
I know it's obvious that you should have a back button. Exactly.
Yeah, it was the first thing I missed with the iPhone, and it was the first thing I was so excited to have when I got off of the iPhone.
And press and hold, which is another Android feature the iPhone lacks, which is kind of like right click. The only thing that happens when you press and hold on the iPhone is the icons jiggle. But press and hold has all sorts of applications. I do love how people like Foursquare and Twitter have been able to make applications that are absolutely in the Windows phone,
and yet retain the identity of the company.
Yeah, I love this.
It looks like that thing, whatever you call Foursquare.
It's Foursquare. But it's Foursquare Windows Phone style.
It is an app that would not be on the iPhone or Android because this is Windows Phone user convention or user interface conventions, and it's nice.
I think that says something for the dev tools, frankly, that they make it easy. It may also be that Microsoft put the screws to these guys and said, please, don't do anything that doesn't look like Windows Phone 7. But for whatever reason, I think that there's harmony here.
These guys could do something. They could do anything they want.
Right.
You could literally use the game developer tools to make a full screen app that looked nothing like Windows Phone. This is one thing. If you use the Windows Phone stuff, it's easier. And it looks awesome. So the apps that do that, I don't think are going to be very successful because I think Windows Phone users are going to expect that experience and want it.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's so attractive.
Now, by the way, I think you're wrong on this accounts thing. That when I did install,
really?
Yeah. So you might want to check your book.
Let's go.
When I,
let me tell you something, Leo.
No, look closely. Look closely.
Right,
Google.
Yeah. No,
email contacts. There's no calendar.
Click on it.
Click and hold, or just click on it?
No, just tap on it.
Okay.
Oh.
I should have read the book.
Oh, look, there it is.
Okay, so by default, that's not checked, but it is now. Okay.
Now, that might have been because of, how did you go through that? Through the Google thing?
I just went through that. I gave it my password. That's it, and it did it. So this is the default. Oh, I didn't even know. See, that's nice. Look at all these extra features. Look at that.
Oh, the other thing you might want to actually go in there one more time. You might have to wait because it's doing.
I'll have to wait. It's thinking. It's syncing.
But after it's done syncing, click on that again because one of the other things that's a little different is for the email type accounts, Google, Yahoo, Windows Live, and Exchange. The way or the default email polling time is different on all of them. I
saw that, yeah.
Yeah, so scroll up to the top.
This is every 30 minutes on the Windows Live.
So for something like, Windows Live, I mean, who cares? Nobody uses
Nobody sends me anything on Hotmail, yeah.
But on the Google one, on the one that is your primary account, it might depend, depending on your needs, it might make sense to have it set to as items come in or, every, 15 minutes or something more quicker, I guess.
It's 30 minutes is what it was, so I'll set it a little faster. Somebody said, you didn't read the fracking manual, Leo. Well, there is no fracking manual, so you're supposed to figure this out on your own.
I wrote the manual, Leo.
Yeah, I'm buying your damn book. And yeah, you wrote the man. Now, this is something that Samsung does, this Now thing, and I could take it or leave it, but it's something Samsung.
I haven't been super impressed by any of the AT&T or Samsung stuff, except for one thing. AT&T has an awesome app, My Wireless.
Yeah,
and that's available on the iPhone as well. And this is a neat thing. So when I do things like if I go to Europe and I buy a data package and it has a certain amount of data on it, this stuff appears in there.
You need
and
it.
On the fly, I can watch. I can see what happens with it, and it is such an awesome application to have.
I can never remember my login though. How often do you log into AT&T?
Well, I
guess I only have to do it once.
Yeah, I do it pretty frequently, sadly, but I just love AT&T so much. You know me.
Oh, yeah. No, you do need this because I found out when I went to China that, in fact, if you don't use their app, if you use, for instance, the iPhone's usage app, you'll be wrong. You could,
no,
but it would be wrong.
AT&T is, they could be a day behind or whatever, but it's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
And
that's the one you want to use.
The other thing
I also love, by the way, let me just say this little thing with the little dots that go across. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Progress.
Yeah, little progress dots. Love those progress dots. Yeah, those are nice. So here's my bottom line, though.
Okay.
If this phone had come out before the iPhone and the Android phone, I would be saying, my God, this is the best thing I've ever seen. But unfortunately, it's not.
Two things to that.
Okay.
This phone could not have come out before.
No. In fact, Jeff Jarvis told me that yesterday. It's obviously heavily influenced thereby.
But it's not just that. It's also responding to some of the things that aren't right with those phones.
Right.
So, by definition, it has to come out later. The other half of the equation is, even though I think there's a valid argument to be made that Microsoft has the iPhone and the Android to look at, thus it should know what to include, and the things that aren't in there should be in there, and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
The truth is, to have the rapid turnaround that they had to have to get in the market as quickly as they did, they had to go after the low-hanging fruit, as Microsoft likes to say, and stuff is not in there. So I think over this next year, we're going to see a lot of filling in occurring, and that's going to. I think by this time next year, we're going to have a more valid.
I'm willing to stipulate that. I'm willing to stipulate that this is even in my mind, add all those things like multiple calendars, cut and paste, whatever. But. And, by the way, all the apps that I'm missing, we'll assume Microsoft's able to galvanize the developer community, sell enough phones to make the developers say, yeah, I guess we have to do Apple, Android, and Windows Phone 7.
Okay.
But stipulating all of that, is it so much better that people aren't just going to say, well, I know everybody uses an iPhone, so I'm just going to get an iPhone?
No, it's not. But I don't think it has to be that much better. The iPhone, when it came out, was that much better. It was, but the phones of that day, my God,
no.
When you look at something, when you look at something like the iPhone or even Android, it's a higher standard you have to attain there. I mean, and I want to be very upfront about this. There's nothing. Well, I was going to say there's nothing endemically wrong with the iPhone, although actually that's probably not true, but. The iPhone is a fine platform. It's an awesome phone. It has an incredible ecosystem of apps and content and all that stuff. And it's great. Beautiful screen and nice form factor and all, yada, 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 yada. Windows Phone cannot compete on price. It's not like Windows to the Mac where it's always going to be cheaper. It's not going to work that way. The phones are just as expensive. The data packages are just as expensive. They're coming from the same people. It's a different world, But I think that it's important for there to be competition in the same way that even though, let's say, the Mac never took over in the PC space, at least not yet, although we may get there still apparently, it had influence on things that happened in the PC world. And thank God they were there even when they were down in the gutter, because they forced Microsoft to do things that maybe they wouldn't do otherwise. I think that Windows Phone will have that effect on the other phone platforms, but I also think it will establish itself as a number 3, in the sense that it doesn't have to blow away the iPhone. There just has to be an alternative to the iPhone. And one that isn't the Wild West, crazy IP violation world of Android. I think that just by doing that, by taking the best of both worlds, the best of the stuff that's on the iPhone, plus the best of the stuff that's on Android, and then doing those things that are innovative and unique to Windows Phone 2, they've created something that's kind of special. And I think people will respond to it if it's presented properly to them. And I think that... the point isn't to defeat iPhone, right? The point is for there to be variety and choice.
Not to defeat, but to compete.
It's to compete, yeah.
And I think it is competitive. Believe me, I'm thrilled that there's a choice. I'm just wondering, who do you see coming along looking at, and by the way, I don't deprecate the Android. I'm using a Droid X. I think it's, of the 3 phones I have a choice of, my favorite.
Yep.
Maybe because it's more of a geek phone. I can do more things. There's more apps. It's not new. It's just it's more flexible for me, and I can do more stuff.
Yeah. I
like a back button
as well.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, but we're geeks. Maybe that's not typical of the average Joe. But
actually, I honestly think the reason I like it has nothing to do with the geektitude of it, because in that choice, I probably would just pick Android. I really feel like this is a better phone than Android by far for normal people, if you will.
I agree. In fact, what struck me immediately is I understood the Microsoft ad campaign so much better. This is the phone, and actually I'm answering the question, but I'm going to pose you the question. Who's going to buy this over the choices out there? And one thing that struck me is this is a phone for somebody who's migrating from a feature phone.
Yeah.
You.
That's everybody, right? Or a lot of people.
It's
anyway.
80% of the market still.
Yeah.
Of course, a lot of them are third world.
Listen, I mean, I know when you're in the Apple world, it's kind of hard to understand this perspective, but there is some backlash against Apple in certain circles, right? And it's not just some weird little 10% of people in the corner.
No. Yeah.
There is a crowd of people that just can't stand that stuff. There are real world concerns around Apple's kind of Byzantine processes and not so transparent way of doing things and so forth. The iPhone is also part of an ecosystem that includes very expensive products that not everybody can afford. So not that everyone who buys an iPhone buys an iPad or an iMac or whatever, but obviously the upsell is part of it. And I think that Windows Phone, like we've said this before, I wish they had called it something different in a way, although that worked out spectacularly with the Kin, of course. But,
yeah, they called it something different.
yeah, it really worked out great.
It's the BPOS, actually. And I don't mean business, whatever.
Yeah. So this thing has got nothing to do with Windows. Even from a functional standpoint, it has nothing to do with Windows. There's no interaction with Windows at all.
It's fresh. It's new. I think anybody seeing this is going to say that's fresh. But I just know that there's also this kind of, and maybe it's a cliche nowadays, but I think it goes back to I think it was Tom Peters, one of the great management consultants, who said a new product has to be, he said, 10 times better than the existing product to get people to adopt it.
Well, okay. I guess. I mean, but, the Mac came first, and most people would have agreed it was better than Windows for a long, long time, and yet Windows kind of blew it away in the marketplace. So
that's true.
It doesn't always have to be better.
And you make a good point. It doesn't have to blow the iPhone away. That's not necessarily Microsoft's goal.
I think this is important because, people, people get so emotional about this stuff. It's not important for the iPhone to be a piece of crap and to fail for this thing to succeed. I mean, obviously with the iPhone 4, there are certain hardware-related problems that I don't feel
there is some crapitude.
They've not adequately explained any of that stuff. Yeah. But still, we're talking about a device that has an awesome design, and the software is mature now, and it's amazing what Apple's doing. And Windows Phone doesn't take away that, or detract from that at all.
Right.
It's just a different thing. And, I think that the one thing I really like about Windows Phone is that, especially compared to the iPhone, this is something that exists out in space by itself. It's not tethered to anything. You don't have to plug it into your PC to use it in any way. Well, it's just,
You do if you want to put music on it, right?
Yeah, right. Music and video in particular.
Actually, if you have a Zune.
If you have a Zune Pass, you don't ever have to connect it for music. I mean, if you wanted to put a movie on it, which, by the way, is a fairly dubious thing to do with a phone.
I agree. This Focus has a great screen.
I know, but I mean, look, if I'm flying cross country with a phone, I'm not going to watch a movie on the plane. I need to use the phone when I get there. So that's cute, but
Windows Weekly. I'm just doing. I love this. I love it when it does this thing.
Yeah, so I did a demo of this for a friend of mine in Seattle, and he said, how does the voice command work? And I said, let me show it to you. And I held down the thing, and I did what you did, and I said, Joe is a jerk, and it kind of thinking, and it came out with some crazy thing. And I said, let me try it again, and I did the same thing 3 times in a row. And he said, wow, that's really kind of a piece of crap. And I said, no, hold on a second. Then I said, call Steph at home, and it instantly dialed my wife.
It's really good.
And it's actually awesome.
It's kind of like Microsoft car. It's like the Ford Sync. It really works really well. You could play.
It almost certainly is the same technology.
I'm sure it's the same technology. So I press a button. So I press and now, if I press and hold the search key, is that how I can do that?
No, press and hold the window.
Oh, you hold the window. That's right. See, that's kind of a mistake, but okay. Call Paul Thurrott. Oh, last time I did this, it showed somebody's phone number.
Yes,
you saw that?
For publishing.
Yeah.
That's good. But you see it work.
Yeah, I don't want it to show your phone number, but I will call your mobile phone.
If you just say Paul Thurrott, it will give you a choice of numbers if you have them.
It did. It's doing it. Right. But I don't want to show the numbers on screen because the last time I did this, I gave out Steve Gibson's home number. So it works great, but I can't really demo it.
So if you were to say call Paul Thurrott
let me try this one. I could do, yeah. It's just like sync.
Just turn the thing around.
Call Airport Express.
Now it's going to say calling Paul Thurrott at home.
Yeah, right. See, so I don't care if you see their number. I mean, it works great.
That's fantastic.
It's fantastic.
By the way, it works like every time too. It's not. It's not like that Doonesbury thing, with the
farm.
No, it actually works.
Yeah. No, this is. I have to say, this is.
It's impressive.
I love this phone. I mean, I'd be completely happy carrying around if it had a couple. You know what it kind of needs is a killer app. Like if it had an Instagram, which is like brought me back to the iPhone. If there were, because this camera is really good in here.
I think those are going to happen over time.
I agree. I think they could happen tomorrow. At this, point.
One of the reasons I'm doing this app of the week thing is
the killer app that's going to come out tomorrow is the TWiT app. Yeah. It's going to be awesome on here. Dimitri says he's in. I think he's going to have it out tomorrow for beta.
Yeah, I think it's actually a release candidate.
Yes, something like that.
So very.
Is there some approval process that has to go through, or what?
At Microsoft?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what's going
basically, on. Yeah, obviously they're emulating Apple. They have a roulette wheel on the wall. And it,
round and round she goes.
Oh, you landed on black. Oh. Bottom of the pile.
We're going to talk more about the Windows Phone 7. There's lots of other Microsoft news. Paul Thurrott is here, the editor-in-chief of the SuperSite for Windows, SuperSite.com, and the author of a book that I've already ordered and will be getting from Amazon probably tomorrow, Windows Phone Secrets, because apparently I need to read the freaking manual. You're right. I am now getting my Google Calendar on here. Still only one item. Paul, there must be a way for me to kind of what if I sync to live and have somehow mush all the calendars on live? Because I don't mind if I mush my live calendar up. No. Okay. I'm going to take a deep breath. And we're going to talk right now about Go to Assist Express. Here is a satisfying product, my friends, from the folks at Citrix. These fellas know their remote access. You know the name Citrix if you use remote access in enterprise, of course. And I mean, they're the kings. They've also got these great products for different niches using remote access, like Go to Assist Express, which is for the IT pro, the support professional. So, even I guess if you're the kind of person that people call on, I'm sure you are all the time, saying, "Help me." Go to Assist Express. You can try it free right now for 30 days. I'll tell you how in a second. Recently named by Frost & Sullivan. They're an analyst group that focuses on support software. The worldwide market leader in remote support. #1 remote support solution worldwide. It's easy to use. It's affordable. It's secure. 128-bit SSL, so you could support somebody from a Starbucks, and you don't have to worry because it's completely secure. Mac, PC, too. I like that. Up to 8 sessions at once, unattended sessions. Your clients don't have to have it installed ahead of time. It's very easy. In fact, I do this all the time. I will just send them a link. They click the link. They've got the software. 30 seconds later, I'm in the system and fixing it. Try it free for 30 days. There is a day pass for people who do occasional support. For the pros, there's also a very affordable monthly rate. You will love this. Go to assist.com/Windows. That's the way to get it free for 30 days. Go to assist.com/Windows. Please do me a favor. Try it. I think you're going to do yourself a favor. I think you're going to love it. And we thank them so much for supporting this fabulous show and this poor little man who is now probably black-opping his way to Nirvana. You got it. I saw you went out and got it. I saw it on Facebook. I saw it on my Windows Phone 7. Paul Thurrott on his way.
Did you see this picture of my son?
No. I have to go.
He asked if he could go.
Did he?
Yeah. So I sure. I said you can go.
It was like midnight though, right?
You have to go to school the next day. So yeah. So he said he wanted to go.
He did it. And was he tired the next day?
Yeah, he was okay.
Yeah.
I just let him stay up for an hour, when we got home and play, and then he had to go to bed.
Yeah. Is there? I know the one question that a number of people ask. We've talked about it before, but I just want to.
It's different when you have the phone, isn't it?
It is. I love it.
We can talk about stuff.
Yeah, no, you have to hold it.
It makes a certain amount of sense, and then you get the phone, and you're like, wow. I know we talked about this, but
if I didn't have a Droid X and an iPhone 4, I would be using this all the time.
Sure.
There's a lot to love about it.
I love it.
You know what? Kudos to Microsoft for saying we're gonna start up from scratch and we're gonna create something that's unique, that's different, and they've done a great job.
And by the way, not to just beat this to death, but they deserve an extra bit of credit because the guys they put in charge of this thing were the guys they previously put in charge of a bunch of products that went absolutely nowhere, even though they were fantastic.
Right.
And they went with the thing that was actually the good design and the right idea, even though history, might have suggested, these guys haven't really had a home run in a while, from a sales perspective. But, software like the Zune software, the PC software, the Zune HD software, Windows Media Center and so forth, these things are all awesome. It's just that nobody knows they're there, and hopefully with Windows Phone, this UI convention will get the broad usage that it deserves because it really is nice.
I'm playing with OneNote. Somebody told me, OneNote, that's the one, that's the app, that's the killer app.
Yeah, the killer app's going to be different for different people.
But this is like Evernote, actually.
Yeah.
So maybe
or vice versa, Leo. Depending on how you want. Depending on the
take
time.
pictures of, and then this will sync. Will this sync with Windows Live or something? I mean, will I be able to get the data off of here?
Yeah. So OneNote is the only Office mobile app that syncs with Windows Live.
Yay.
So it syncs with the Windows Live. They're changing the name of it, but the Office web apps. Mm-hmm. The OneNote web app. Mm-hmm. You can also sync that same notebook with your PC-based version of OneNote if you want, and thus you get this one of the rare instances of PC to phone sync, even though it's not direct. And it gives you a way to, be out in the world taking notes, whatever it might be, or and have them sync back to your PC, or be at your PC and make that shopping list or whatever, and then when you're out in the world with your phone, it's on your phone.
That's neat. So maybe I don't need Evernote, except that everything's in Evernote, but. That's cool.
Your problem is you use stuff.
That's my problem.
You using bastard.
But that's kind of my point. Is that if you came to this fresh, with no, you would be blown away.
By the way, it depends. It depends on the baggage. So if you came to this from the perspective, we're talking about technology baggage. If you, I have all my photos in Google Picasa Web, for example.
Right.
Windows Phone is not great for that yet, right? The expectation is that it will be. So just as is the case on the iPhone, as I'm sure I have not looked, but Android obviously would support this as well. You can download applications that allow you to access your photos from Google Picasa Web. Nice.
Right.
But really what you want on this phone is for those photos to appear in your album view, the photo album view in the Pictures Hub. Now, for that to happen, Google or some third party would have to integrate with that hub and offer that functionality. And I literally just asked Microsoft about this at Win Connections, and they said, yep, that's absolutely possible. And the only reason it's not there is someone hasn't done it.
Okay.
So
that's good.
That would be true of Flickr, of SmugMug, of whatever.
Well, SmugMug is on Live. Well, it's Flickr, but they don't go back in.
No, but you want the full integration with the phone, not just the Windows Live aggregation stuff.
Right.
Because you gotta remember the multiple layers of integration that are possible. And I am offering up something that doesn't exist as an example, but I just want you to know that it's possible. It would be possible for somebody to integrate SmugMug into the Pictures Hub. It would be possible for you to separately download from someone else another piece of integration with the Pictures Hub that allowed you to edit photos in some way, say crop them or color correct them or whatever it is. You could use that tool to crop and color correct a picture stored on SmugMug or Picasa or whatever, and then share it through the Windows Phone sharing thing on Facebook or something. Mm-hmm. This is a thing where like 3 completely separate online services are being used, right, as a complete solution for an end user. Now,
that's the future, isn't it? Ultimately,
I just made that up. But I mean,
right?
The point is,
I agree.
And I want to be clear about that. But that's the possibility of this thing right now. It just came out, so hopefully in the coming weeks and months, that's the types of stuff we're going to see.
Right.
So yeah, we're going to have apps. There are going to be apps. Netflix app, Facebook app, apps are going to occur.
There's a great Facebook app already.
It is. It's fantastic. But I really think that the strength of this phone and the point behind those commercials, right, the glance and go stuff, is the integration.
Right.
Facebook has a great app, but one thing that the Facebook app doesn't do is provide any live information on the tile. How nice would it be if you could glance and go to Facebook?
So I had to look for a weather app. Even the one that comes with it doesn't put live weather
Right. So I used WeatherBug.
WeatherBug does, which I love.
Yep.
I just had to search for it.
Right.
Yeah. I love the fact that you can, if you mistype a word, you can click it, it highlights it, and then you could choose the right word
you know what
or
I
retype it.
Actually, you'll know this. Okay, so it's funny. I don't use the iPhone anymore, and it's only been a couple of months or 4 months or whatever it's been, but I'm still so far removed from the iPhone. I was actually kind of surprised that this wasn't possible, or at least that I didn't find out. I couldn't figure out how to do it. So on the phone right now, as you're typing, if you wanted to place the cursor arbitrarily within that thing, you can hold on on a word. See the cursor?
Right. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Oh, look at that.
Look at that. Look at that.
That's
now,
cool.
I couldn't figure out how to do that on the iPhone. Is that
same thing? But they do a little magnifying glass.
Okay, I just couldn't get it to work. I don't know why, but
well, it's a little tricky because you have to. I mean, I think that I would argue that that's kind of related to how it works on the iPhone. I think they're probably in the same.
I could have sworn there was a way to do it. I just couldn't.
Yeah, let me start typing something. I'll show you. So this is I have to say swipe on Android the text. Okay, now what you do is you click. This is the thing that you didn't do. You click first, and then you hold, and you get the little magnifying glass. I
think I like the way Windows Phone.
If you click right away, if you click and hold, you're going to get this cut, select, paste thing. Yep. So that's a little non-intuitive. You have to get it in there, and then hold it.
No, that works great. I can see. I can't understand why didn't they just copy that? It looks awesome.
No, I like it that it's the text cursor because that's a little more intuitive. I think that's cool. I'm just tweeting this here. This is fun. The keyboard is as good as the iPhones. It's pretty much the same.
There's a great demo that Microsoft did at the launch where you type really fast.
Right.
And you make all these mistakes and it autocorrects. It's actually pretty good. You know, it's a nice keyboard. You know, the iPhone proved that virtual keyboards were not just possible, but were in fact usable. And I think this is the continuation of that. I mean, it's nicely done.
You know, this is the Twitter app. I mean, I think that this is a great. I would certainly, let's put it this way: if I had to use this for a month, I would be perfectly comfortable with it. There's a few things I'd miss, but the Bing Maps are very good.
But don't you get the notion that there's a few things you'd miss?
Easily fixed. This is brand new. I mean, this is look at the G1 when the first Google phone was unusable.
Right.
You know, you wanted to throw it.
Sure.
So I think this is, you know, and of course Microsoft has the advantage of having been able to watch other people's stumbles and so forth.
You could benefit from the success of others.
Yeah, but that's you know, there's this I think it's a canard in the tech industry, the first mover advantage. You know, oh, you were the first person in the space, you're going to own the space. I think that's rarely true. I think you're much better off being the second or third one in the space.
Yeah. I mean, if the iPhone was so unassailable, why did Google do something different and just overtake them?
Right.
I mean, so quickly, right? As awesome as the iPhone is, and as successful as that.
Well, it took 3 years. There were bad iPhone clones for 3 years.
Oh no, but I mean Google specifically. In other words, they just came out and they did it.
Well, yeah, it took a while. It took I would say a year for Google to do it. It took 2 years before there was anything even close to the iPhone. Remember, you got to remember like the Instinct. Remember the Sprint Instinct. Remember the first BlackBerry Storm. There were some crappy iPhone clones.
Oh yeah. No, of course. And you know we're going through this same process in the tablet market. You know, such as it is.
Now, one thing people really want to talk about is AT&T.
Yep.
Now, unlike you, I'm in a very marginal AT&T area.
Oh, so what's your experience been like?
Well, from a point of view of bars, it's pretty much the same number of bars. I haven't made enough calls to know if I'm dropping calls. I've had a few incidents. Mm-hmm. So my initial reaction is it's not appreciably better in terms of reception.
My reaction is night and day. So
you're seeing a big difference.
I have literally dropped one phone call since July on this phone. Well,
so you've had more. Yeah. See, ask me in a month or two because I haven't used this enough yet to really know.
Yep. No, this has turned me around on AT&T completely. I mean, this is a company I would have nuked back to the Stone Age if I was given the opportunity. But actually, you know, whether it's the phone, which is my suspicion, or a combination of the phone with improvements that AT&T has made over the years, whatever it is, yeah, it's been great.
The other thing people want to know is battery life, and my experience has been it's as good as, if not better than the iPhone 4. I've been able to get through a whole day easily.
So mine is not as positive as that, but I would just say it's on par with other smartphones I've used, including the Droid X, where you have to charge it every night. You know?
Oh, yeah, you have to charge it every night. The Droid X, I often don't get through the day.
No, and the Droid X is hilarious because it clearly is draining the battery when it's not doing anything.
Yeah, something's going on.
If you leave it sitting there overnight with a full battery, you can come back the next day, it will be dead. It won't just be low. It will be a brick, you know. And
I think those are runaway apps. I really do. I think that's one of the issues
it's
with
multitasking.
multitasking.
Yeah, unfettered multitasking, you know. It's, absolutely, yeah.
And that's a flaw. You got to say that's a flaw in
it's by design. I mean, this is the dark side of the open nature of that platform, you know.
Well, I would even just say that it's supposed to have garbage collection. If an app does that, it's supposed to kill it. You know, because it's just I think that it's not working perfectly.
It's just not working right.
Yeah. That's just a bug. And, look, man, somebody's pointing out in the chat room, and this is true, this is not by any means Microsoft's first phone, so they do have, some years of experience with Windows Mobile. This is in a way, that's a disadvantage, right?
I guess. There wasn't a lot of Windows Mobile influence in here. I mean,
no.
The one time, really, I think the only case where they explicitly said, hey, look, we got this from Windows Mobile, was their decision to work with the carriers and the multiple hardware partners, right, to deliver this stuff. Because a lot of people were saying, look, you guys blew it with Windows Mobile. Why don't you do the iPhone thing? Just make your own phone. And they said, no, we don't make hardware. We're going to let those guys do it. And we'll see, if that was the right decision. So far, I mean, I have to say, the phones, of the first generation phones, I mean, they're middling to excellent, depending on which one you're talking about. I think there are a couple that are excellent, the HD7 and the Samsung Focus. And then the other ones are like, whatever. They're fine. They're fine.
How about the HD?
In the U.S.
You said the HD7, which is the T-Mobile.
The HTC HD7.
And that's the one that T-Mobile says is sold out.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh.
Right, that makes sense because, they had an HD2, which was a Windows Mobile 6.5 phone.
Right.
Nobody wanted Windows Mobile 6.5, but actually the HD2 was a pretty big success for them, despite the fact that it was running on Windows Mobile. That was a very well-regarded phone. It's sort of the Windows Mobile version of the Droid X, if you will.
Well, and that's one of the things I find interesting. I mean, this is very much like a Samsung Galaxy S phone. I mean, these companies have basically it's similar hardware that they just put Windows Mobile on.
And not to get completely off topic, but if you look at that phone, there's a certain tapering to the back. See how it gets a little wider at the top and the bottom?
Right.
And if you look at that Samsung Galaxy Tab tablet, it looks exactly like this. Yep. It's this device
That's
bigger.
Probably where the antenna is or something of importance.
Yeah. Not on the outside rim. Where you could touch it.
Yeah, it looks like it's metal on here. Maybe it is. I can't tell. I think it's plastic. But it's certainly not the antenna. Let's put it that way.
It's not the antenna.
How about button placement? So, I think Molly Wood was complaining that button placement was all over the place. It's this one thing they did right, which is that these hardware buttons at the bottom, they're always in this, unlike Android, they're always in the same order.
But on that particular device, they're capacitive. They're not
which I don't mind. I don't want physical buttons.
I'm fine with. Although I do tap the Bing button more than I intend to.
By accident?
And because of the way I hold it, and it brings up the Bing app, which is better than it bringing up the no antenna app.
Right.
But honestly, the button placement on this phone is virtually identical to I would say button and port placement to the way it was on the prototype. So
volume keys on the left.
Yeah, I'm just
camera
used to it.
And on off. I do like the on off much better than the Android on off, but it's very similar in the sense that the way you wake up the phone is the on off button. But it's just a natural. That's a natural place to put it. Don't you think?
If this phone had a normal hardware buttons on the bottom, you'd also be able to wake it up with the Windows key.
Ah, so a physical button would let you wake it up.
You can't do it with capacitive because you'd be hitting it all the time.
Right.
I
don't mind that. I think this is superior to the Android setup, which is usually on the top, and just not as natural.
I don't like it on the top. It's not because when you're holding it in your hand, you can turn it on.
Right.
Right. The way this is.
This is just so natural. You're just you're holding it, and it's just like it's on.
Yep.
I like the ringtones it comes with, but it also lets you use any song for a ringtone, as it seems to be. Yes.
No.
No?
No. So, ringtones and alerts, notifications, and also alarms. You're stuck with whatever the built-in thing is. And this is the whole 1.0 thing, So for every awesome feature, I focused on alarms last week as the app, the feature of the week. It sounds like a dumb thing to talk about, but honestly, as I said last week, it's it's got a nice way of waking up. So you've got this thing where it's like, this is really nice, but you have 10 alarms and 6 alerts. And that's all sorry, that's all you have.
Yeah.
And obviously they'll change it over time. But, when you're 1.0, every sentence you speak about this thing has the word but in it. This feature is awesome, but, it's missing this thing. So if you click on that, you'll see 10 alarms and then, or 6 alarms.
But isn't that pretty? I think that's pretty.
The sounds are all really nice.
I love the sound. Now, is that AT&T or Samsung, or is that...
No, those are Windows.
These are all Windows. Well, that's one thing Microsoft's always done well is the startup sounds. They get people like Brian Eno.
Yeah.
And,
what else I like is, when you're on a train or, in a busy place and that iPhone sound chimes and every jerk off at the station looks down at their phone.
Yeah.
It's never for you. I love that. I know that's a dumb thing. But I'm so happy no one has the phone. I mean, I don't mean it like that, but
I know what you're saying. Which ringtone are you? Let me play the ringtone I'm using. I haven't changed. I'm 19 Bell. So let me play that. Isn't that pretty?
Yeah, they're all very nice.
Yeah.
And the alarm thing, like I said, it will come in. It starts off muted and slowly comes in. It's not that blare of awful sound.
I'm sorry, I got a little carried away there.
You look like President Obama in India there for a second. Did you see that clip of him dancing?
Was he doing a little Bollywood?
I'm just saying he's not actually our first black president.
Bill Clinton was.
Well, okay.
Yeah. Oh, you're saying he's not? Okay, never mind. Let's not go there. Really, he's not a good dancer.
You gotta.
Did he have also the white man's overbite?
It speaks for itself.
Okay, I'll find the video. Have we covered? I see on your outline the truth.
We actually have items.
The truth about Windows Phone 7
did.
software updates and wireless carriers. Hotmail finally gets SSL. Now, this is interesting because we talked about this on Security Now as if it were a response to Firesheep, but this has been in the work for a while.
I mentioned this months ago. They were going to do this. Yeah. And if anything, it's a little late. My understanding was this was going to hit in September. Previous to this, you could log in over an encrypted SSL connection, using HTTPS. But once you logged onto the site, and that would protect your logon, I guess. But once you were on the site, it was normal HTTP. So what they've added is what Gmail has had for months and months, which is full SSL encryption, meaning you're always on HTTPS while you're using the service on the web. And in typical Microsoft fashion, where they also taketh away. So if you enable this, you can no longer access Hotmail from a client email program like Hotmail or I'm sorry, like Outlook or Windows Live.
Oh,
so your choice. It's your choice.
Secure or convenient?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's the Microsoft conundrum.
It's actually the universal conundrum. Sure. There's usually you got one or the other.
Email has it and it works fine everywhere else. So I don't, who knows?
Well, that's true. Okay. By the way, we haven't quite finished Windows Phone. I have one more thing to say. When you talk to Microsoft, tell them to fix the freaking calendar thing. That's the only thing that's a stopping point because I want to see all my calendars on here.
Microsoft will tell you that it is a feedback-driven company, Leo.
Okay, well, I'm giving them some feedback. Because, I love this when you turn it on that you get the, get in and get out thing. There's my next appointment, except it's not because it only has one calendar.
So here's an interesting thing that's actually a step back from Windows Mobile, which in the last version of the OS, they had a variety of things in the front screen there, and you could unlock to go into a certain experience. So if you got well, actually, this is a bad example. If you get a message while you're on the lock screen and you unlock it, you actually do go to messaging, which is kind of nice on Windows Phone. But if you have a pending voicemail or a pending email or a message you didn't get to in time, and you unlock the screen, you just go to the home page. That's the home screen. Whereas in Windows Mobile 6.5, you could actually go discreetly to any one of those experiences right from the home screen, which was kind of a nice feature.
Well, and for somebody, hello. For some,
okay. I have been rated.
All your base belong to us and our little graph. I don't know. Oh, it was Becky Worley. That's her fault. I just evidenced this, by the way. I have no short-term memory. Okay. So that's the problem because I'm looking at the front of the phone and I see, oh, golly, I got a message. and then I do this, and I go, oh, what was that I was going to do?
Yeah. Yep.
So that's why it should go to the thing.
Yep. I agree.
With the thing, because then I don't know what the thing. And by the way, there's WeatherBug. It's not. It could be prettier. You know
Yep.
the.
Yep.
So
the one
somebody's going to write one that has a tile that has little clouds floating across.
I have blue tiles on my home screen as the color.
Yeah,
so
you get to choose that.
You've got green there.
Yeah.
So one of the things that was weird was I installed WeatherBug and I put it on the front page, and the color blue in the WeatherBug tile was a different color blue than the rest of the apps. And I thought, what is going on here? But actually, that's the color of the sky.
Oh, it does do the color of the sky.
If it's cloudy, it turns gray. If it's raining, it looks like rain. If it's nighttime, it's black. You know, like it actually.
Well, let me make my phone purple and let's see. Oh, okay. Right? So that's a special blue.
It's like Twitter is blue because Twitter is
it's blue
color.
Yeah.
I can't see that other thing. Was that Foursquare or whatever? Yeah, I guess it's also blue for whatever reason.
Yeah, they should take the color as the other tiles do.
Well, no, that's their option. I mean, that's their option. One of the biggest complaints that Microsoft got back in February when they first introduced this phone was people said, wow, it's got these big, ugly, opaque squares. I mean, that looks really bad.
Right.
But what people don't understand is that, aside from being dynamic, those default squares are only a small portion of what you're going to see on that screen. As these apps come in and people put stuff on their home pages, home screens, like you've done,
right?
You create your own little kind of look and feel. It's up to you.
Very innovative in conception. And now, am I wrong in assuming that this is kind of an infinite scroll that I could, if I added more people at the bottom or more tiles it would just keep going?
I'm sure there's a conceptual limitation to it, but yeah, you could.
So I just decided I'll put all my contacts at the bottom.
Yep.
You spend some time thinking about how
Microsoft has. So Microsoft had some interesting ideas around this. The original kind of goober idea was, I'll put my home stuff on the top and I'll put my work stuff on the bottom. But I actually, at the Windows Phone launch, one of the guys there, maybe Joe Belfiore, actually had an interesting idea, which was that, you're traveling. So you have, maybe you have Expedia has a page with your itinerary on it. Maybe you've got your check-in stuff in this app and whatever. And you could actually put that stuff right at the top just for the trip.
Right.
So when I was in Seattle, I stay with friends, and I wanted, the contact tile for my friend to be up there at the top because I was going to call him a lot because I'm there.
That makes sense.
So I did. And then when I left, of course, he got demoted back to the,
Yeah, no, I do that with all my phones. If I'm traveling, I'll put TWiT on the front page because I can get to, my bookings quickly. Any phone should allow you to do that. And that's one of the nice things about smartphones.
Not all phones do, Leo.
Oh, I know. Oh, believe me. So somebody said it's a good interface for setting alarms. Let me set an alarm. So I just do that. Oh, look. Oh, that is kind of nice. I like that better than the Apple. They've really done the squares, haven't they? They've decided no rounded corners here. We're going to do squares. I like that.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, no,
be careful about setting that because that thing will go off at 7 whatever in the morning.
7. I got to change it to 6. I get up early. Of course. There we go. Set that. Okay, that's the time, and I'm going to say you should do that. Oh, and you could. This is good. This is what you want. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then I could choose the alarm.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. And you say it ramps up.
It does. It's really neat.
Ooh, that's annoying. Oh, boy. Oh, that'll wake me up. Ah, happy. Happy. Oh, the pipers are piping.
You've used an iPhone a lot. I have too. Everyone who has one has woken up to one of those alarms.
Yeah, dong.
It's not a happy experience.
No, I've had enough of that.
You can play with the alarm sound all you want, but you're never going to get one that's anything you want to hear at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's
this is kind of a nice and interesting touch. So I have one of the things I had to learn was, look at the bottom because you're going to have an action key at the bottom.
Yep.
But it's just the action key. But if you press the ellipsis, it'll tell you what it is, which is kind of.
So by the way, that was something they added into the beta because a lot of those icons are not. That one's obvious. It's a plus
but
sign,
some of them are not. Like the Twitter ones.
Yeah. Well, Twitter's a third-party app. I mean, if you go into, Microsoft Word,
right.
I mean, some of those are. They're not.
There's probably a lot of them. Yeah.
Can't tell.
Notice I do not have Office on my front page.
No.
Does it integrate with Office 360 or what is it? What does it integrate with?
Office 365. Yes,
365.
Because that's based on SharePoint, and that will work just fine with this.
Okay.
Yep.
So these icons you're talking about, but you can just.
Yeah.
Now, is there a screenshot functionality?
No.
Okay.
It's coming.
Yeah, that's another
The way they're going to handle it is that they can do audio and video over USB.
Right.
And it's not in there now, but it will be, and that's how that's going to work. So,
I'm sorry, I got right back to a Windows Phone.
No, it's fine. Leo, I could talk about this all day.
Well, you wrote the book, and everybody should buy the book because there is no fracking manual.
That's true. What phone comes with a manual, though?
None of them. Nothing. No, not even like. I bet Office doesn't even come with a manual these days.
I think Windows Phone has those aha moments, but then after that, it's a series of little surprises. Some of them are negative,
Yes.
right, and some of them are positive.
Yes.
The negative ones are, oh, how come I can't do this? And the positive ones are like, look at this cool little thing. I tapped and held on the screen and it did something cool or whatever. I mean, there's neat stuff.
Yeah. Well, for instance, I was thinking, well, how do I get out of this mode of moving things around? You just tap, and it goes, and it zooms out. I mean, it has a nice fit and finish. You're right. It's very nicely, very elegant, very snappy. And I think, what this kind of reminded me is if Palm Pre had been this fast.
I know. Honestly,
if
there were two things that killed Palm Pre, the WebOS, I think, out of the gate. One was the performance. Because people look at that device and they think, this is so beautiful. Remember, it had that like a smooth stone kind of look to it, and it was very pretty. And the UI was pretty. It was nice. But then you actually use it, and it's shocking, how slow it was. And then the other problem was I think they basically ran out of money, and they didn't have an opportunity to get a really vibrant app community going.
Right.
Here was a platform or a company that had such tremendous third-party support over the years. And they just couldn't. I don't think they could. I just don't think they could afford to reach out to those guys. And
it's too bad.
It's too bad. It is too bad.
And really, had they had a faster processor in that first Pre and better build quality, because the Pre's broke a lot.
Yeah, more memory and more apps maybe. Yep, it would have made all the difference in the world. It would be a different conversation today,
It would be.
I think.
By the way, I'm impressive the number of apps on Windows Phone 7. They did a very good job in evangelizing the developer community. There's a great select. I mean, a lot of the apps are silly, but but you don't feel like it's a ghost town when you go to the App Store. I think they've done a very nice job there.
Yeah, and obviously that's another area where it's only going to get better. But even if you just look at something like Windows Live Games, Xbox Live Games, somewhere in the 25, 26 individual titles, all of which provide achievements and all that, really high quality games. That's astonishing, right out of the gate.
Yeah. Oh, these games. I mean,
stuff.
there's plenty. Yeah, that was something Android lacked for a long time, was decent gaming.
Right.
Just the Harvest alone is going to keep me me going.
By the way, I mean,
and Bejeweled.
The pick I have this. Yeah.
But don't.
I don't want to get there. It's good ones. We have good ones.
Zip it. We will. Paul Thurrott is here. Zip it. Before we get to a very pleasant surprise for some and a very unpleasant surprise for others.
Oh, it's another Windows Phone story.
No, it's not. I do want to talk about our great friends at Ford. And I mean it when I say great friends at Ford. I feel like, and now that I'm a Ford owner, I feel like I'm in a club. I have a bond. And when I see my friends like Scott Monty and Scott Kelly and even my good friend, the CEO of Ford, Alan Mullally, my bud, I feel like, we're in a family. I have friends who, I said, oh, you have a Ford Edge. How do you like it? They got the new 2011 Edge. I said, that's great. What prompted you to buy a Ford? And they said, well, we're a Ford family. We've always bought Fords. And it's kind of nice, if you were a Ford family, you might have gone through not a great time in some of those periods. But you know what? Ford now, these are the best cars on the road today. They are making some great vehicles, and I am pretty damn proud to be a new Ford family. I've bought my last Japanese car, I got to tell you. Take a look at the Fiesta. If you're looking for a small car with personality, with a little zip and great gas mileage, you cannot do better than the Fiesta. This would be a great first car for a student, a great car for a young family just starting out. Very affordable, and yet you don't feel like you're sacrificing. First of all, 40 highway miles per gallon, according to the EPA. There is no other compact car more fuel efficient than the 2011 Fiesta. And that's, thanks to that 1.6 liter Duratec TIVC TI4 engine, which is zippy as get out. It has features like my Mustang has, that capless fuel filler, which is really great. They call it the Easy Fuel. You don't need a cap. You don't need anything. You just pop it. Whoop, it's so great. In fact, Drove Jammer would be crazy. You couldn't figure out. So where's the cap? There's no cap. It just works. 4-inch multifunction display with LCD screen. That's the Ford Sync, of course. We'll talk about that. Those are all standard. Optional features include heated leather trim seats. On these cold winter mornings, they're very, very nice. The power shift 6-speed automatic transmission, and, of course, voice-activated sync. True hands-free calling so you never miss a call. Turn-by-turn directions without having to purchase additional GPS hardware. 911 assist. If you give one of these to your son or daughter as like their first car starting out, you'll feel real good about that. The safety features in this thing are fantastic. And then it's also great. Ties into your phone. By the way, works great with Windows Phone 7. Not that I'm surprised, but in every feature, including the text messaging, works with Windows Phone 7. So when text comes in, it says there's a text, and it reads it to you. There's so much more. The 2011 Ford Fiesta. If you want to know how nimble, how peppy, how zippy it is, take a look. There's a YouTube video. The Fiesta versus a Lamborghini. Okay, in some respects, the Lamborghini is superior. But anyway, you might want to check it out. YouTube. Just search for Fiesta versus Lamborghini. You could figure out how to spell that. Spell just like spaghetti. And if you have, well, there's a GH in there somewhere. That's my clue. If you have a chance to go to a Ford dealer, if you're in the market for a car, and you just want to see the Sync, or you just want to have some fun, they're so nice. They're very friendly. They're very glad to see you, and no obligation. Just go test drive the new 2011 Ford Fiesta. EPA estimated 29 city, 40 highway, 33 combined MPG automatic SFE. Drive one this week at a Ford dealer near you. So there was a little bit of a shock to the system. Did this happen on Patch Tuesday, last Tuesday? When did this happen?
November 1st.
If you went to your Windows Update. Whoa! Security Essentials.
If you have nothing installed, no.
Well, I already have it. So, in fact, most people probably didn't see it because by now everybody's going to see this. Right.
Yeah, so Microsoft started deploying its free security solution, Microsoft Security Essentials, via Windows Update. Technically, I guess, via Microsoft Update. So it would also go out to, corporate computers if they're not locked down and so forth. But as an optional update. And only if you have out-of-date or non-existent antivirus or anti-malware.
Oh, so software. If you have something else installed.
Yeah, you're not going to get this if you have Norton Security, whatever. So not that many people would see it.
And by the way, if you don't, you should see it.
I know. Well, that's the thing. So, my take on this is I can point you to an editorial I wrote over a decade ago, literally, where I said Microsoft needs to supply free security software as part of Windows. They caused the problem. I get that there's this third-party ecosystem of leeches that kind of jump on the back of this problem and been making money on it, but really, this is something that should just be in Windows. So, several years ago they came out with OneCare, and I said, well, OneCare is pretty good, but it's not free, it's low cost. Okay, maybe maybe it should be part of Windows. And then they came out with Microsoft Security Essentials, which is free, which is great. It's not part of Windows. It should just be in there. It's weird to me that you could install Windows 7 and it's like you're all up to date, except you have to have security software. Right.
They do at least annoy you until you put something on there or turn off the annoyances.
Yep.
But now you can get it. You just go, okay, yeah, give it to me. Give it to me. Sock it to me, baby.
But, but it's so subtle. Not only you have to run Windows Update, you have to then navigate to the optional updates section.
Right. Most people probably don't see that.
You have to then check it off and say, yeah, I do want it, and then you have to install it. So, of course, the third-party antivirus vendors are crying foul over this because this is they think is Microsoft's first step toward integrating this into the OS, and what they're asking for, and I believe they're pointing at the EU when they ask this question, is how about a browser ballot screen except for
no
AV, because that worked out so well.
No,
no, I can't stand stuff like this.
No browser ballot screens.
I feel that these companies obviously make bigger and more complicated products that do more, and that even if Microsoft Security Essentials was a core part of the OS, that, they would still sell. People want the other stuff. And I really hope that's where this is going. You know,
would you categorize MSE as bare bones?
Well, it's bare bones in the sense that it does just a couple of very specific things. It has integration pieces that really kind of only work with IE when it comes to the browser stuff. It is very lightweight and small, and you don't notice it. And
Which
it kind
I
of sits
like.
there,
That's a good thing.
So for me, that's a good thing. But, you know, it doesn't have this sort of comprehensive, you know, set of extra protections around, you know, ID theft and, you know, all the other stuff that these.
Right. That's what not. Well, there you go. That's what Nod 32, who sponsors some of our shows and the radio show. That's the kind of thing they say. Well, we do anti-phishing. We do, you know, spyware. We do rootkits. We, you know, you can go a step further. Now you can't run both though, right? You want one or the other.
No, you wouldn't run both. But again, obviously, it would be very simple to build this mechanism in Windows where if you installed a third party to be part of the deal. Yeah, and by the way, that's already the way it works with things like Norton Internet Security will replace the firewall in Windows 7, for example.
Right.
They already have this in place. It already works with the other security controls. So there's no reason this couldn't work here as well.
Right.
Anyway, obviously, from their perspective, you know, they want to head this off as much as they can. I think there's a feeling of inevitability about it.
Has there been a hue and cry from the security vendors?
Yeah. They're already bitching about it.
How dare you? How dare you?
I wrote this. You know, it reminds me of the car manufacturers going to court because they didn't want airbags or seatbelts in their cars because it would be so expensive. You know, and that they had done some internal math where, you know, we lose a couple of customers each year, and it's, you know, maybe we pay some settlements, and
some people die.
It's less expensive.
It's still
but it's less expensive than actually doing the R&D and putting this stuff in all of our products. That's like really you know, they're there to make money, not to be morally.
There was a Cameron Diaz movie that was on last night on the cable, in which she and her husband, it came out last year. I can't remember
the windshield wiper movie. The guy
no. It was called a box or something. Somebody delivers to their door a box, and with a button, and they could push the button, and they will get $1 million. But someone they don't know will die,
right? And
they agonize. It's a big deal, you know. And of course, it's a thriller and stuff. But it's kind of like that. Yeah. Well, $1 million, but somebody dies.
Guess which one they would choose?
Yeah.
They'd choose $1 million.
They choose the $1 million.
Yeah, wouldn't even think about it.
Yep. The box. It is called the box, says Fred Flintstone. And, you know, when somebody named Fred Flintstone in our chat room tells me anything, I believe it.
It is a fact.
It is a fact. Okay, we've put it off long enough. Black Ops.
Yes.
Black Ops. You've been enjoying it, have you?
It's okay.
I see something behind you. What does that say behind you?
I have a Black Ops poster.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's kind of hard to see. It's way back there.
Well, I can tell.
I tried to get it a little closer, but
it's like you're, you know, in the news when they have the over-the-shoulder shot. You know, Connie Takanawa, our Asian reporter. That's you.
Exactly.
Yeah. There it is.
Larry, there was a horrible accident today out on the freeway.
Larry, there is Black Ops everywhere.
It is. It's all over the place.
So, I saw on your Facebook, you got up middle of the night to go get it.
Yep, I did.
And was there a line?
There was.
Were people dressed in camouflage?
They were. This is it's hard to overstate what an event this is, you know. Yes.
Wow.
I think the only thing I'd ever seen like it, and I was mortified and embarrassed for them, but when the first Lord of the Rings movie came out, I was sitting in the audience with my friend Jeff, and these teenagers ran down the middle of the aisle dressed up as orcs and elves, and then proceeded to act out a scene from the book in the front of the theater, and then they bolted through the exit. And it was one of those. It was one of those really embarrassing. Everyone, we were embarrassed for ourselves. We were embarrassed for them.
Well, you know, in about a few years, they'll be doing the sing-along Sound of Music. So,
yeah,
you know, they just believe in. So, can I show this picture that's on Facebook of you and your son?
Oh yeah.
I don't want to invade your privacy or anything.
Oh no, please do.
Yeah,
please do.
He's a little bleary-eyed, but ready to rock. Whoops, there he is. He is excited. How many did you buy? Did you buy like 3 of them?
No, we bought 2.
Oh yeah, because you have multiple Xboxes.
Yeah, I said, you know, this is either going to be the evidence used against me from Child Protective Services in court, or my nomination into the Parents Hall of Fame.
The Daddy Hall of Fame. He is. Look at him. He's
Possibly,
so happy.
possibly both.
He's so happy. He's so cute.
I was telling a friend of mine, I said, I'm really far ahead of you in the running now, but I suppose if you were to buy him an evening with a rock band or go on a cruise, you might be able to pull even with me from getting my son up on Call of Duty night. No,
I think you're. What time was that?
Midnight.
He does have. I have to say, it looks like there's some bags under his eyes there.
There's some bedhead going on there. A little
bedhead. So he had already gone to bed and you woke him up.
Yeah.
You're a good father. You are a really good father. That's so cute.
I figured there was a 50% chance that when the time came, he would say something, that kind of thing.
And he might say, no, never mind.
No, he jumped right out of bed. So.
Yes, Daddy, let's go play black. Now, you wouldn't let him take it home and play it.
Oh, you got to play it. What kind of torture would it be to wake the kid up, have him go by the game, and then be like, well, good night.
And so
I set a limit.
How did you handle that? You say 15 minutes? No.
Yeah, 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
You can play till whatever.
And at the end of the 30 minutes, would he just pass out or did he fight you?
I got him and said, okay, time to bed. Time for bed.
Perfect.
And then I stayed up until 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah. You knew we wouldn't be doing Windows Weekly on Tuesday.
I'm a responsible parent. I'm not a crazy person.
I love it. So you're happy with the game? It's all it's cracked
awesome.
up to be.
Yeah, I'm writing the review now. Hopefully today, maybe tomorrow, I'll have it up. But the long story short is, single player campaign is fantastic. It's much longer than the previous 3 games, which all had very short single player campaigns. I'm playing it on veteran this time, the first time, which is the hardest skill level. This may be a mistake because I think otherwise I would have finished it by now. Really? But it is so hard.
Wow.
I'm only about halfway through. I literally spent about an hour and 45 minutes, I think it was, on one sequence, doing it again and again.
So you die each time? Is that?
Oh yeah, it's in the checkpoints are so spread out,
right? That
the game doesn't. You achieve all this stuff and then you die and you go all the way back. You're like, you got to be kidding me. It's very difficult. But the multiplayer is fantastic, and it's very reminiscent of what Treyarch, which is the company that developed it, did with World at War, which was the 2 Call of Duty games ago. Which is they took the engine from the previous Modern Warfare game and then they made it really colorful. And they fixed a bunch of the stupid little things that were wrong with it, and they added some unique little features and everything. And it's complicated, but it's so well done. It's just a really kind of complete experience. So, by the way, you'll appreciate this one. So there are now 15 prestige levels instead of 10.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I mean, so there, I got that going for me. But it's gonna be a
little nod to ground. What is it? Bill Murray in
yes, in Caddyshack. Thank you.
Caddyshack. Yeah.
I
did that going for me.
When what I just said has in fact no impact on anything, which I love using that line. But with Modern Warfare 2, I can't remember what he said it about either in the movie. But
it's funny. That's to say that line is all you need to say.
Yeah, so I've got that going for me.
Get that.
But when Modern Warfare 2 came out a year ago, I knew I would be playing this game for the next year. And sure enough, literally the day that Call of Duty Black Ops came out, I was playing Modern Warfare 2 for the last time ever. And I have a feeling this will be the same situation. I mean, I think it's got a long-term appeal. There are going to be map packs coming and all that kind of stuff. But even in its present state, it's just awesome. And some of the new little stuff, you have one of the great little. I always confuse the terms like a kill streak. Is you get this little remote control car that you drive around, and when you run by a bad guy, you can trigger it and it blows up. And I've gotten triple kills off of that a couple of times, which is nothing. It's nothing more fun than driving a little remote control car around the level, and then you come up behind a group of these guys in the other team and blow them all up with a car.
Nothing like it.
Nothing like it. Yeah. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
Let me just for our memory's sake. Because we are getting on.
Okay.
Just a little something.
Some more than others, but yes.
A little something from Caddyshack.
And I make my way over to Tibet. And I get on as a looper at a course over there in Himalayas. A looper? A looper. The cat, looper. Jack. So I tell him I'm a pro, Jack. Now, who do you think they give me? The Dalai Lama himself, the 12th son of the Lama. The flowing robes, the grace, all striking. So I'm on the first tee with him. I give him the driver. He hauls off and whacks one. Big hitter, the Lama. Long. Into a 10,000-foot crevice right at the base of this glacier. Do you know what the Lama says? No. Gunga, galunga. Gunga, gunga. So we finish 18, and he's going to stiff me. And I say, hey, Lama, hey, how about a little something, you know, for the effort, you know. And he says, oh, there won't be any money. But when you die, on your deathbed, you will receive total consciousness. So I got that going.
I achieved total consciousness at about 4 o'clock in the morning.
So I got that going for me.
I got that going for me. I love that.
Sorry about the audio quality on that, but, you know, YouTube, you don't know what you're going to get. 15th Prestige, have you got there?
No.
Not yet.
I'm about level 31, 32, somewhere in there of 50, I guess, for the first Prestige.
Wow.
So I'm thinking by Christmas.
It's going to keep you busy. That's good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got our Windows 7 phone, Windows Phone, our feature of the week.
Well said, sir.
We got our tip of the week. We got our software pick of the week. And as a bonus, an extra bonus round, Paul's going to give you a surprisingly addictive version of a classic game for your Windows Phone 7 that you will enjoy. But before we do that, that's called a
We'll
tease.
enjoy.
Endlessly. They get that going for me. I want to tell you about Carbonite. Carbonite, the backup solution you must now know about. And if you don't, please do me a favor. Go to Carbonite.com. Use the offer code TWiT. I'm sorry, Windows. What did I say? TWiT. Windows. And you can try it free for 2 weeks. Here's what happens. You install software on your Mac or your PC, and it immediately starts backing up to the cloud. Encrypted 128-bit SSL. You can even add triple DES or Blowfish if you want to, you have something really private. But the thing is, it is now on the servers. And should the worst happen, and it does, believe me, hard drives die, people make dumb errors and trash something important, or perhaps somebody steals all your stuff, or a fire, a flood, and you've lost everything, including your local backups. You've always got it in the cloud on Carbonite.com. You can log in from any computer. There's even an iPhone and BlackBerry app. Lets you get that file back with just a few clicks. I think this is kind of, to me, the biggest selling point of Carbonite is that file is always available to you anywhere you are if you can get online. It's automatic, it's safe, it's secure, it's encrypted, and it's very affordable. $55 a year for unlimited backup, all the personal data on your internal drive. So on your laptop or your desktop, all of that stuff is automatically backed up, and you don't have to think, is this too much? No. Won't even worry about it. By the way, if you use our offer code Windows, you will get 2 months free as well. So it's not only affordable, $55, but you're going to get 2 months free too. So it makes it even more affordable for that first year. Carbonite.com. Try it free right now for 2 weeks. You'll see how it works. If you like it, if it works for you, and of course you have to have upload speed, decent upload speeds. You have to have a broadband connection, things like that. That's why we want you to try it first. Make sure it works for you. Buy it. Use the offer code Windows. You'll get 2 months free. You got to back it up to get it back. We know that. So do it right with Carbonite. Carbonite.com, offer code Windows. Windows.
It's like, cool.
So I'm going to skip our Audible pick of the week since Audible is not a sponsor of this show right now.
I'm getting tired of this damn company.
No, wait a minute. No, I got to tell you something.
Oh, just kidding. I've got so many Audible picks, though. I literally have 4 picks.
They're
stacking up like
I shouldn't say this in public, but Audible's been with us so long, they actually pay a little bit less for their ads than some other people do, so it's not a bad thing.
I understand.
You're making more money. Think of it that way. Actually, you don't make a penny more, but I make more money.
I know. Well, good for you.
I lose less money.
That's good.
Yeah. By the way, before you go on, Roy the Goy has been bugging me in the chat room. He has a burning Windows Server question for Paul. And since we didn't do the Q&A today, I'll let him ask. Windows Server Foundation looks to be only available by the purchase of a server from a Tier 1 OEM.
It's true.
True. Okay.
Yep.
That's it.
That's a question. Yeah. All right. Yeah. That's the only way you can get it.
You got to get it that way. Do you know
if you're going to ask me if it's on like TechNet or something? Because I'm wondering.
Yeah, maybe you can get it that way. But get it from an OEM. And a tier 1 OEM is like my HP. It's
going to be Dell, and what you're getting is a PC style tower machine, low end for a server type of hardware. Yeah. I'm curious now about this. Whether I never even thought to look if it's on MSDN or TechNet. But,
I didn't mean to distract you.
No, it's okay. Out in the real world, that's how you do it. So,
Windows Phone 7. Can I just call it Windows Phone? We don't have to mention 6.5.
Did I mention to you my pet peeve about how people are it's like a joke. Like, what do we call these things? Like Windows Phone phones? Like we ever thought to call the iPhone an iPhone phone,
right? Or
an iPhone 4 phone? Right. I mean, really, is Windows Phone 7 really different from iPhone 4? Really?
But there is such a jump between 6.5 and 7. And do they still sell 6.5?
Yeah, for now they do, yeah.
So you kind of have to make that distinction.
No, you don't.
Okay, you don't. Windows Phone Hub is our Windows Phone feature of the week. Actually, I'm going to walk through it while you do. People Hub. I love this People Hub.
Yeah, well, except for some things. So the problem with the People Hub is that while you can have multiple contacts, sources, right? Gmail, Exchange, whatever. Windows Live and so forth in there simultaneously. There's no way to segregate them out, and there's no real workaround for that.
So this is LinkedIn. That's Facebook.
Yeah,
I mean,
those are you're in the what's. So you're in the what's.
That's
new
what's
feed.
new.
I'm talking about the actual context list.
Oh, the context. Yeah, in fact, it's merged everything.
It's merged everything. Now that's not necessarily ideal. You can see, and you're not even past A. You've got so many contacts.
I got tons of them.
Now there is one way you can filter that thing down. If you go hit the start button, and go to the all programs list on the right, and go down to settings, and then go to, go in there, and go to, let's see, applications. So you got to swipe over to the right.
I didn't even know there was someone on the right there. Look at that. I never saw that before. What else is in here? Oh, just two. Okay.
So go down to people.
I didn't even know that was there.
All right, now scroll down a little bit. You'll see the Facebook option.
I'm going to change that right now. Okay, last name.
There you go.
Display name.
So there's a Facebook option. This is a recent addition, and this is really important because I have, 1,500 contacts on Facebook. You probably have more. One of the things you can do is get them out of there unless those contacts exist elsewhere.
Right.
So you can say only add Facebook info for existing contacts.
I like that.
That's right. Now,
so that's presuming if they're already in your contact list. Now we can get the picture from Facebook or the additional phone
and other information, because one of the nice things about the People Hub is that it actually aggregates the content from multiple sources, right? Now, another little secret of this thing is that if you have a Windows Live account added,
which I do,
you do, and you add information to a contact from an account type that doesn't support editing, like Facebook, it will actually create a duplicate content in Windows Live, so it's always saved up in the web.
That's great.
We'll add that new information to that account, and then it will aggregate them together on the phone so that it appears as a seamless whole. So that's kind of a nice thing there.
Yeah, that's a little frustrating. I'm in the contacts list, and I click on something, and because I say, oh no, that address is wrong or whatever, and it says no, that's Facebook. You can't touch that.
It's Facebook, yeah. So as long as you have a Windows Live account configured and with contacts enabled for that account,
which I do. You
can do that.
Oh, that's nice. So, I better not click on any of these. I'm going to show people's phone numbers again.
So anyway, I would say of these major aggregation hubs, and there are several in Windows Phone, pictures and music and so forth, this is the least complete in many ways because they don't really give you a lot of options around filtering and all that. And I think that's something that's going to come in the future. But there are some options around the Facebook thing, like I just showed you.
Yeah, there's something there.
There's some stuff there. So, and as you were looking at earlier, there's also that What's New feed, which is all of the aggregated social networking posts that your friends and
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice way to view that stuff. And you can go in there, and it's not just view. You can comment. You can jump into threads. You can refresh a thread if you want to know more and so forth. There's a lot of stuff in there. It's actually pretty nice.
Yeah, and I can like it. Yeah, I think this is a very good example of how to unobtrusively yet effectively incorporate your social network into your phone. I think that's just very nicely done.
And then I should also note, for those people that are not interested in the social networking aspects of the phone, you don't have to enable any of that either. So yeah, you could just not configure your Windows Live account to include any of that information, and it won't show up in here if you do. So you're welcome to opt out of that as well. It's not. I've gotten some emails from people say, "Look, I don't care about social networking. Is there anything on the phone for me?" And it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Right.
You know, the social networking stuff is just part
That's just
of it.
one tile.
Yeah. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah. All right, cool. So the Windows Phone 7 People Hub.
Yeah.
And now your tip of the week.
Yeah, this was based on an email question I'd gotten. Someone was looking for, I think they were moving users from XP to 7 or something, and they wanted a way to, they had previously moved a lot of their PIM information, email and calendar and so forth up to Google. And they were saying, you know, is there some application in Windows I can use where I can get Google Calendar, you know, to appear as an application? They don't want to use it from the website. And I looked around and, you know, there really isn't anything great for that. But actually, if you use Internet Explorer 9 or Chrome, those browsers both have the ability to add application shortcuts for websites so that they act like applications under Windows. IE9 works a little bit better for supported sites on Windows 7 specifically. I think that Chrome works better for the Google stuff just because it's, you know, they're kind of designed for each other. But that is actually the way that I use Gmail and Google Calendar. I have app links for them in my taskbar. It actually launches a unique Chrome instance where the web app runs inside of a Chromeless browser, if you will, with no, you know, decoration, so it looks like its own thing. It appears in that Alt-Tab list as its own application, and it, you know, kind of works and acts like a Windows application rather than a web page. And it's not sitting on a tab, you know, on a browser somewhere, so you could close it by mistake or whatever. So actually, that's a great solution. And, you know, for certain websites that are taking advantage of IE9 features like Amazon.com or, you know, some of the social networking sites that are doing that now, you could also, you know, create application shortcuts for those websites on the toolbar, and those will bring up those special versions of the IE9 window, you know, where they work like discrete applications. So that's kind of a cool capability, and I think it's one that a lot of people don't think of, not just for Google Calendar, but for lots of different things. So if you spend a lot of time every day in Google Picasa Web or in, you know, on Flickr or whatever it is, I mean, maybe that thing should be running as its own application, sort of a pseudo application, rather than as just yet another tab in some random browser window. And that's kind of a cool way to do it.
And yeah, no, I'm playing with my phone.
I just there's nothing worse. Actually, the one thing that's worse than listening to me talk is watching me talk, which is what I'm confronted with here today.
Well, it's better than watching me eat.
It's why I'm kind of looking around like, you know, is there something else I could look at here?
Let us get our software pick of the week.
So are you eating lunch?
Well, somebody's got to.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, well, you know, we have lunch catered on Thursdays.
What is that?
It looks like spaghetti squash with a nice pasta, and then there's you know, it looks good. I don't know what it is, but it looks good.
Yeah, my wife would approve this morning.
Oh yeah, it's very healthy. They only give me the healthy stuff. There's probably steak out there, but no. Will I get it? No.
Yeah, I think these people see their future in your eyes, you know.
They do.
It's understandable.
He dies, we're dead.
Did you crush a vitamin in this? What is this? You know.
Well, all I have to do, watch. My heart, my ticker, get me the nitroglycerin. And watch.
Exactly.
A ticker, it's in my ticker. So actually, I'm surprised by this software.
I am too, and you know, Mozilla is getting ready to release Firefox 4 any time now. So what they've released recently is the last beta, the feature complete beta, beta 7 of Firefox 4. And Firefox is a browser I've sort of written off in many ways because of a few things. You know, well, those few things being Chrome and IE9. But I'm in the middle of working with the people at the magazine to redo the site. We're going to, you know, do the content management system and so forth. So I've had a lot of information lately about, you know, the browsers that people are using when they use my site and which browsers they're testing against and yada, yada, yada. And so I had to, or I wanted to install the latest version of Firefox to take a look. And I actually have to say, I've ignored this maybe to my own peril this year. You know, Firefox 4 is looking pretty good, actually. And, you know, if you're, look, I think a lot of the people listening probably are very comfortable having multiple browsers installed on their desktop and so forth.
I have every one, of course, yeah.
Yeah, you know, I actually have to say it looks pretty good. I mean, there's it would be too hard to explain why this is the case, and it's really specific to my own situation. But with both IE9 and Chrome, there are certain things that don't work well in either browser. And for whatever reason, it seems like pretty much everything works pretty well in Firefox, which maybe is its own excuse for using this thing. But, you know, it has a lot of the hardware acceleration stuff. It's not as complete as IE9, obviously. A lot of performance improvements in this release. Nice UI, nice Windows 7 friendly UI, by the way. If you're in Windows 7, it does all the, you know, it has all the taskbar previews for multiple tabs like you would want from a modern application, all that stuff. It's worth looking at. This is, it started out as kind of a mess. You know, I think the early Firefox 4 betas were not that great. And for whatever reason, you know, it seems like they've really, you know, kind of put it together. I mean, it's getting there. I think it's worth looking at. And if you haven't looked at Firefox in a while, and that's probably true of a lot of people who are on the leading edge, especially.
Yeah, no, I'm a Chrome guy. I'm pretty much.
Yeah.
I felt like I was done with it. I
did too.
Yeah.
And maybe I am. I'm going to try to use this now for a few days.
I'll try it now because of you.
Yeah. I have to say I'm pretty impressed by it. It's got a nice look to it too. I mean, it's a good looking browser, so something to check out.
And finally, is this going to be a new feature where we'll do a Windows Phone 7 application?
Yeah, until you let me do a specific Windows Phone podcast, which I would really like to do.
We may end up doing that. I'm impressed. You know, we don't even do an Android or an iPhone podcast.
Yeah, but you need to get going on that.
I think we might need to. What we've done is Android's kind of enrolled into Twig, and MacBreak Weekly does iPhone and iPad. So
I do Windows Phone here. I understand, but it doesn't have to be 90 minutes long.
I think we should do one, and I wouldn't mind doing an application.
One specific to the phone might be interesting. But anyway.
By the way, the Marketplace app is very nicely done, I think.
Yeah, yeah. You know, there's some presentation stuff that's kind of interesting, and search is no good. If you
searches across music too, which is very confusing.
With no way to filter it.
Yeah.
So if you search for something in the Marketplace, you'll have music is in there, apps are in there, and I think there's some other stuff in there too.
I keep trying to find a Google app. Somebody said there's a Google app, so I keep searching, and I get all this.
I know, and you get
all this stuff I don't want.
Google is on an album or something.
Right.
Yeah, it's terrible how that works.
Oh, good. The Google search app did come out. But then I get Mr. Google Eyes, Google Me, you know, Googleplex the album. This is all, you know, that shouldn't be in there.
No, it shouldn't.
You should be able to constrain it. It is constrained, but it's constrained to the marketplace, which sells music as well as
the marketplace, what they sell on the phone. See, the way I look at it is if you go to the app section of the marketplace and you hit search from there, it should be searching apps.
I agree 100%. Yep,
that would be the way to handle that. Anyway, you know,
look how nicely that's done. You know, that's a free app.
Yep.
It uses, by the way, in my case, the AT&T bill. You can't have it charge you other ways, but it's just kind of nice. It just comes out on your phone bill.
Yeah, you can choose. Right, you can choose on the fly. Even so, if you have a work phone where they're paying for it, but you don't want them, you know, to see the, you know, the game or whatever on your your bill, you can pay for that yourself. You know, it's nice.
So what is your app pick?
My pick this week is
my finger is poised.
I have downloaded and installed every single Xbox Live game that's come out so far. I think at some point I'm going to have to stop doing that because there are going to be so many of them. But this one surprised me. It's Monopoly.
What, really?
And it is an awesome game. It's awesome.
Is it multiplayer? How do you play it?
I don't know. I think it is multiplayer. Actually, I just play it single player against the machine.
Okay.
And I have to tell you, I'm impressed by this. It has caused me to go back and look the game up. Because I didn't know that some of the stuff that's in there, of course, using search to find it, that's never going to work.
I know. I found a lot of stuff besides. Okay, it's $5. This is why I didn't buy it.
There are complex aspects of this game that I wasn't really aware of, I guess, or hadn't remembered because it's been years around, you know, mortgaging the properties and auctions and so forth.
Oh, yeah. Nobody plays that because
maybe I just played the dumb, you know.
Yeah. People don't do that. Yeah. But that's in the rules. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in there. So I actually had to dumb it down because I couldn't, you know, this guy's like, you know, playing the computer and it's, you know, trying to, it's trying to make deals for all my properties and stuff. What the heck's going on? I mean, it's crazy. Or you land on a spot where the guy says, I'm going to pass, and then you get the opportunity to buy it yourself. And there's a lot of, actually, the achievements are kind of hard and fast, which I really like. But the presentation's awesome. You shake the phone to roll the dice.
That's neat.
And it has a really nice animation effect, and obviously it's true to the rules, apparently, much more so than I was even aware was possible. But it's a beautiful, it's a great game. It's very addictive, and
this is driving me crazy.
Yeah, I hate that too. Yeah,
is that supposed to do that? It's free. It's upside down.
Stupid.
Okay.
Leo, obviously what you have to do is hold that thing at a 45-degree angle.
I'm doing something wrong.
You're not doing anything wrong. It's not you.
It's not okay.
Yeah. It's the phone. It's not Monopoly. It's the
phone.
The design of the marketplace.
It doesn't do that very often.
No, it does it here. That's
it does it in the marketplace.
Well, because these are screenshots of the game, but the game is landscape, so you want to look at it landscape, and when you do it, flips it over. Yeah. Well designed. I can only assume that will be fixed.
Well, folks, if you would just turn your TV set on its side right now, you'll get the actual landscape presentation of the game. Yeah,
it's a great game. I really didn't expect anything from this at all, and it is in fact a great game.
So you can see it's got the little progress bar. It's downloading there. Now I noticed that it says, along with buy, it says try. How does that work? So
all Xbox Live games have to offer a try before you buy option.
Oh, it can like that.
How you implement it varies from game to game. So in a level-based game, if there are 10 levels, maybe they give you the first 2 or 3 for free.
Right.
And then if you want to pay more, you can buy it from within the game or whatever.
Right.
I don't know how. I haven't actually tried it for Monopoly. I'm not sure how they implement that in Monopoly. Maybe you play for 10 minutes and then the game shuts down, or who knows? You can vary. But that's something you have to have in order. It's one of the many things you have to have in order to get that Xbox Live designation.
And incidentally, I mean, you could just see there is a huge variety already of software in here.
Yep. And a lot of it's great, and a lot of it's not.
There's the usual crap.
Yeah, it's crap. Absolutely.
But I already, and this took me a while to have this feeling in Android, and certainly in the early days of the iPhone. Already, I feel like I can't keep up. There's too much stuff. Yeah. And I don't, you can't. I'm sure there's only a few thousand, but it really does feel like there's quite a lot of stuff in here. So
it's good.
Yeah, very cool. Paul Thurrott is the editor-in-chief of the SuperSite for Windows, winsupersite.com. A very extensive article on the new Windows Phone 7 and how to use it and how to set up before you buy it. And I followed that to the T, and I'm very happy I did. He's also the author, though, and this is the book I'm waiting for because I really need it, of the Windows Phone Secrets. And that's available everywhere.
I'll send you a copy, Leo, along with the 7 book, which for some reason you never got. But
I got it. I buy them. Oh, I have the 7 book on the Kindle. That's why.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, but still, it's nice to have
It's nice to have that, and then I can hold it up for you and so forth. Sure. So run out and get that before you get the Windows Phone, or get the Windows Phone first and then get the book. Sometimes it's kind of nice to play with it and then say, okay, now how do you do that? Yeah. And not everybody has the luxury I have of saying, Paul.
Right.
How do you do that?
A lot of people do.
I feel very fortunate, I have to say. We didn't even talk about Connect yet, but we'll save that.
Well, we talked a little bit, last time. So, yeah, I think waiting a week might be interesting because I've already seen some waning interest in the kids, and I'm curious to see if this thing is very quickly shelved, a la the Wii, or if it has any legs at all. So
that's going to be the big question. It is, yep.
I think that's the big question, yeah.
My friend, thank you so much, Paul Thurrott. You're a great fella, a good guy to know, and congratulations on the success of Windows Phone. I'm sure that this will sell many hundreds of copies of your book.
At least several. I'm looking, I think 17, 18 I break even, and then...
well, we know there's at least 40,000 people out there who
let's just say I won't be retiring anytime soon.
All right, Paul. Well, you got that going for you.
Yeah, I got that.
We'll talk to you next time on Windows Weekly.